it is a constitutional suggestion or a constitutional ideal, which has been so politicized, so mired in politics that we can't actually have an honest conversation about it. How do you see the debate around a uniform civil code?
You see, this question arose years ago before two very, very distinguished judges of the Bombay High Court, Chief Justice Chagla and Justice Ganendra Gadkar. Justice Ganendra Gadkar later became Chief Justice of India. Now, the question was, is there a distinction in the Constitution between custom and personal law? There's a very fine distinction. It's very difficult. It's only a lawyer who can wind his way through it.
Yes.
But they reason that yes, there is. Because in one of the articles in the seventh schedule, which will say what is the power of the state legislature to legislate, they have mentioned the word personal law. In Article 13, you will find the word custom mentioned. Now, therefore, there is a slight distinction. How one is to get married, should be the death ceremony, etc., etc. Should there be adoption or should there not? The Mohammedans are dead opposed to it, for instance, because the Prophet was opposed to it, and so on. Now, these are questions which I think they have to come in time. They have to, as long as people, we must compliment the majority community, the Hindus, for having introduced part of the uniform civil code
by codifying
laws. As a matter of fact, the person who really codified the Hindu law was a Parsi, Sir Dinsha Mullah, in his book, Hindu Law, which was otherwise very confused. And he was able to codify and make a sort of as if he was enacting an act. And it was brilliant because he was one of the very great jurists of his time, a member of the Privy Council and so on. But this is a problem that arises, and I think each community has to adapt itself in our society. And that's why I am, let me say, are you a proponent or are you opposing? I'm opposed to it.
You are opposed to
a uniform civil code. Because there are far too many complications in each little section of the community.
So you'd much rather that the personal laws be codified, each community?
If at all they are to be codified. Because I recall that amongst Parsis, for instance, my macroscopic community, under the Indian Succession Act of 1925, and the old days, a daughter or a sister or a mother inherited only half of the property of the person who died intestate, that is without a will.
Yes.
Then a son or a father, etc. Now, that was very unfair. Why should a woman have half the share of a man? And some of us went to at that time I was Additional Solicitor General, we went to Mrs. Gandhi and told her, she said, no, I won't amend it. You come with a cast iron agreement amongst your entire community, because the entire community wouldn't agree that you want this. And it was only 4 or 5 years later, after educating the rest of the community, that now the Succession Act has been amended and a woman inherits on an intestacy as much as the same share as a man.
But what if the community had not agreed?
That would be unfortunate if the community had not.
So you're saying change has to come from within the community?
From within the community. And to say that change within the community, how that is to be organized, this is the personal law. This is
so you are opposed to the uniform civil code?
Yes. I am opposed to a uniform civil code. Although Goa has been very successful.
Yes.
Because the Portuguese had it and they have introduced it and it's been working extraordinarily well.